No more Adamic chains, no mosaic bonds. The age has awakened, it's ours to disarm. Silence is golden when the truth's on the line. The Messiah's come, he's never left behind. So raise up your glass, toast the dark and the light, for the facts cannot fade in the heart of the night. Dust on the road where the stories lie, echoes of faith in the midnight sky. In 70 AD the temple fell down, silence fell heavy on this ancient town. 40 long years, not a word to be found. The Savior had come and the world turned around. They said it was over, the trumpets had blown, but heaven had sealed us a place of our own. In the ashes of fear, in the ruin of pain, the silence became a testament, loud in its name. Oh, the Messiah's here, the promise stands tall. In the quiet of night, we ain't lonely at all. Voices from the past, they don't fade away. Silence holds the truth in the light of the day. When the dead are raised up and the living change, thank you, world, for the silence that reigns. He told us plain in the first century's pride that the world would shift and rearrange in time. Not a word from the followers, not a sound in the night, just the clock cutting deep on that fateful sight. Oh, when Nero's rage was short-lived and grim, for the elect found a refuge, a chance to begin. Through layers of history, scars of the past, the echoes still linger, the truth holds steadfast. Here, the promise stands tall. In the quiet of night, we ain't lonely at all. Voices from the past, they don't fade away. Silence holds the truth in the light of the day. When the dead are raised up and the living change, thank you, war, for the silence that reigns. So let the world tremble, let the ages collide, for we carry a fire that will never subside. 40 years gone, but the echoes still ring. The return of the promise is what we all sing. No more Adamic chains, no more mosaic bonds. The age has awakened its house to disarm. Silence is golden when the truth's on the line. The Messiah's come, he's never left behind. So raise up your glass, toast the dark and the light, for the facts cannot fade in the heart of the night. Dust on the road where the stories lie, echoes of faith in the midnight sky. In 70 AD the temple fell down, silence fell heavy on this ancient town. 40 long years, not a word to be found. The Savior had come and the world turned around. They said it was over, the trumpets had blown, but heaven had sealed us a place of our own. In the ashes of fear, in the ruin of pain, the silence became a testament loud in its name. Oh, the Messiah's here, the promise stands tall. In the quiet of night, we ain't lonely at all. Voices from the past, they don't fade away. Silence holds the truth in the light of the day. When the dead are raised up and the living change, thank you, world, for the silence that reigns. He told us plain in the first century's pride that the world would shift and rearrange in time. Not a word from the followers, not a sound in the night, just the clock cutting deep on that fateful sight. Oh, when Nero's rage was short-lived and grim, for the elect found a refuge, a chance to begin. Through layers of history and scars of the past, the echoes still linger, the truth holds steadfast. Here, the promise stands tall. In the quiet of night, we ain't lonely at all. Voices from the past, they don't fade away. Silence holds the truth in the light of the day. When the dead are raised up and the living change, thank you, war, for the silence that reigns. So let the world tremble, let the ages collide, for we carry a fire that'll never subside. 40 years gone, but the echoes still ring. The return of the promise is what we all sing. No more Adamic chains, no mosaic bonds. The age has awakened its house to disarm. Silence is is golden when the truth's on the line. The Messiah's come, he's never left behind. So raise up your glass, toast the dark and the light, for the facts cannot fade in the heart of the night.
Shalom.
Boker Tov. You got something on the screen?
I got some fire in my belly.
You got fire. Fire.
We got some fire trying to take over the podcast.
We got Kadosh fire right in the middle, coming up from the clean Ristine, if you know what I mean. Shalom Sholiak. How are you?
Apostle Peter. Top of the morning.
Top of the morning to you, my friend. I've been sitting here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just excited to chat with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. I think those of you that have friends out there that may want to sit in on this one, this is going to be one that I think is going to be not only really relevant. I think all of our conversations are relevant, right? But you know, this is really something that's been on my heart, and things that have been going on, and I'm just so excited to encourage the saints. So
yeah,
that's what I'm here for. I don't know about the rest of you.
Well, since you're the one that's excited, let's give you the.
Well, you might not want to do that. You might want to get all your.
As they say in podcasting, take your liberty.
Oh my goodness, my goodness!
I found that phrase in podcasting: "Take your liberty."
How many out there are learning so much at such almost like a breakneck speed? How many of you feel like you're just being?
I'm learning every week.
Every week I'm going, wow, I didn't think about that. Wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, as I prepare for the messages and learn new material, I'm learning every week.
Yeah, it's exciting in a lot of ways, but also I think it puts a premium on humility. It puts a premium on, I mean, not that there wasn't always a premium on humility, right? But it really puts the premium on humility because you have to let go of the things you thought you had all wrapped up. You thought you had it all figured out. You had your whole thing worked out. You had the whole timeline worked out in your head. You had it all sorted. You were all done. You didn't even look anymore because you just had it all summed up.
All figured out.
And then here comes
truth.
Here comes whoops. There's a few facts you didn't know, and a few details you kind of skipped over. You want to throw those in and see if your formula still works? It doesn't. Ooh.
I'll tell you, Apostle Peter, when I went from God, Senor, and to Yahusha and Yahuwah, I literally had to destroy hundreds of teachings. Now, you can imagine how I felt, because some of those teachings
can imagine how you felt. Yes, sir, I can.
Some of those teachings were spot on, and they were birthed by my blood, sweat, and tears. But in order not to deceive the people, I had to get rid of them, because the tendency is to hoard them. But that's like hoarding leaven, or like hoarding.
That's a good perspective. I guess I hadn't thought of it that way.
So but the same is happening here. I'm at all the pre-dispensation, millennial, Antichrist. He's returning at the end of the world's going to be burned up the second time. The first, all that. I've got more stuff to destroy. So, um, the rubber meets the road. Before we get into today's topic, the rubber meets, because you're talking about humility. Humility is not just I'm sorry.
Right.
Humility is, are you willing to undo what might cause damage to others?
Come on now.
not
That's
just
the
to
fruit
yourself.
being me for repentance right there.
But you got to. I mean, I'm willing. I'm not saying I'm humble. I'm just saying that I'm willing to destroy old teachings and things that are clearly not full revelation, that would cause my brother to stumble. I don't know if that means I'm humble or I'm just the fear of Yahuwah.
Well, that's a good thing that you brought that up,
Maybe
because
it's
I
the fear
struggle
of
with that.
Yahuwah that I don't want to face him one day. And he said, I dumped this into your lap, but your pride or your book sales or your whatever were not willing to change. I don't want to have to hear that, and I don't want to have to deal with that.
Well, I wonder if some, especially for me, and I'll just say this for my sake. Maybe somebody out there will identify with this. Sometimes you have something, you're right. You have something that's, in my life it happens a lot. I'm sure in Sholiak life it happens a lot. You have cutting edge things, something that no one's heard, or very few people are walking in. And on the one hand, you want to share it. On the other hand, do you want to pummel it? And that's where I struggle, is where does the sharing stop and the pummeling begin? You know what I mean? When are you pummeling somebody? And that's where I try to find the line. I try to find the line between, I'm sharing this. This is what it is. This is the truth. This is what I believe. If you look at the scripture, here's what it says. But then there's that pummeling of people, right, that you see out there, especially in social media. And I'm not with that. I'm not with the pummel people. Okay. I'm with answering questions. I'm with telling you what I found. I'm with all of that. But when it starts becoming a pummeling, when they start punching and hitting and verbally, you know what I mean? A verbal beatdown. I'm not down with verbal beatdowns.
Right. I'll give you an example. I had the other day, I had somebody post, you're an opinion and you're a false prophet. Boom. Immediately block. Now, in yesteryear, in my younger years, I would have engaged that person. But now, if you're gonna call me a false prophet, you don't know what size shirt I wear, you don't know the price I've paid, you don't know anything about me. Okay, I block them. If you cannot engage, it doesn't even have to be in respect, as long as it's sans accusation. You follow me? Little French, sans, sans, without sans accusation. I'll engage you, but if you're gonna just start calling pejorative terms without even, no, I'll just block you. I'll only waste my time. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fear. I don't want to get into fear today, but the fear of Yahuwah is what I'm willing to take any book off the market. I'm willing to take anything that would mislead people, not because I'm a saint, even though positionally I'm a saint, because the fear of Yahuwah is greater than the need for another $20 or $40. And I'll say this, even if if Yahuwah told me the RSTNE is misleading and is causing people to
causing
stumble,
harm, right?
I wouldn't even count the cost. I would do it and let Yahuwah worry about feeding me. Because
see, but they don't understand that. See, now I know your heart. I know what cloth you cut from. And so I know that the words you say and what you just said was packed with absolute pure, I will do this. Don't try me. And I don't think most people meet that many people, even in the ministry, that have that kind of heart. So I don't know. I don't think they know what to do with you is more the case. Is they don't know what box to put you in. And that's a good thing. Maybe leave them off balance while they listen. Again, one of the challenges that we all have is as Sholiak has just pointed out, the topic of respect. And he's so modest. He's even willing to work with you if you're struggling with that. I'm not. The king said, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." That is pure respect. Respect. Love is spelled RESPECT. And so if you're telling me you're a believer and you don't have a moniker of respect, the first thing out of your mouth is a correction, an observation, or a disagreement, you are coming disrespectfully. I don't have to hear a word you say.
Right.
You could be right, and I can ignore you.
Right.
You could be right,
You need to
and I
earn
can
the right.
ignore you.
You need to earn the right to speak into people.
You need to be respectful. Come properly. You know,
Well,
come respectfully.
not only that, you need to earn the right to speak into people's lives.
That's another thing is that without a relationship, right? So you didn't cultivate a relationship, you didn't spend any time, but now you want to have influence on that person. Now you want that person to listen to you. Well, now you wish you had spent some time in relationship, because if you had, when you made that phone call, that person would listen. But because you don't spend any time, you don't care about them, you didn't demonstrate authentic care over time, constancy, which is what the scripture talks about. You didn't have that. You didn't have forever on you, but you expect him to stop what he's doing and listen to your temporary self. Think about what you're saying. Why would he want to listen to you? You're sitting in the seat of the scornful. Demonstrate faithfulness, then your voice is heard in the assembly.
Right. And
otherwise, you sound like a dog on the outside.
And the Pharisees lost their right to teach Torah. In other words, you may even have the right bloodlines.
That's right.
From Aaron. But you had, and I had a situation here many Sukkots ago, and we had quite a few folks, and the guy was not allowed to teach. And one of the things that I said in my message under the sukkah that day was, just because you're called or you think you're called, you have to earn the right to teach Torah. Because if you're not a doer, how can you teach others to be a doer? And the same applies to speaking into someone's life. You got to not only earn their respect, but you've got to put in time.
That's
like
it.
You said, relationship. You got to put.
That's right.
You got to put in some time. But then once people put in 2-3 years investing in a relationship in the kingdom, we're talking about kingdom relationships.
Yes.
Then I would say don't shut down, because if that person has your best interests at heart, okay, you don't want to shut down. Okay?
That's right.
So, let's say there are people in the alliance that are getting to know you or getting to know me. So, after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, if there's something that needs to be fixed, we need to be able to speak into each other's lives. But again, in respect. Like I've told my people for over 40 years in one form or another, you can correct me anytime you want, but I'm going to limit it to this. Don't come at me with your feelings and your emotions. Come with the word, 2 or 3 witnesses from the word, and correct me with honor. Sir, I know you're busy, but I want to show you an area that you might be off about, and come with the word and with respect, and I will allow you to correct me. If you come with your feelings and you come with your emotions, sorry, I'm not going to listen to one word you have to say, even if it is from the Father. How's that? If you want to correct a shaliach or a pastor or an elder, come with the word.
Yeah.
Don't come with your feelings.
And don't be mean. Maybe the person really is wrong, and maybe you really are being brought to help. Isn't that a wonderful thing? First of all, shouldn't you be honored? Now, let's start with what you should begin with. Let me help you out. Let's say you were going to go talk to the sholiach. Everybody, I'm going to pull you aside real quick, okay? Let's say you want to go talk to him, all right? Let me help you out. First of all, respect begins with his abilities, his qualities, and his achievements. These are things you cannot take from him. These are not things conditional upon whether he agrees with your latest point or not. What you are about to deliver is irrelevant to those things. Respect is already there. It should already be there, not because of what he may or may not agree with you. That's not the condition. The condition is, what has he already accomplished? What is his already demonstrated qualities? And what has Yahuwah given him for abilities and an office, right? So these are all things that are already pre-established. In fact, the only reason why you're calling him is because these things are pre-established. If they weren't pre-established, you would have no need or feel no compulsion to come correct him. Okay? So the very fact that you're coming to bring something says, by the way, it's a compliment to the fact that he's special. Okay? So the fact that you're coming tells him just how special. Now, how do you come? With respect. If you come with respect, and the fourth thing you do, not the first, the fourth thing you do is I do have a couple of things that I want to share with you. After you've already shown this respect, after you've already been respectful, are you kidding? That's like setting the table. Of course he's going to listen because you've demonstrated that you're not adversarial. You're not a demon dressed in a human, okay? You're a person that might have a question or whatever, but you're not coming disrespectfully. That is critically important versus the person who, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. Watch this. The first thing out of their mouth is a correction, an observation, or a disagreement. You are absolutely right to shut that voice down. Zero love present. They are competing with you.
Right. And they don't know you. They spend no time with you.
It's a competition now. It's a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Sorry.
No, you're right. 100% right. Like the people in our assembly, and like the people in your assembly, we're familiar with each other. We go through good times together, bad times together. We watch sports together sometime. We hang out together. So
I don't watch sports anymore.
I know you don't, but we do. But we earn the right. All things in balance.
Yes.
We earn the right to even to not to ridicule, but to joke with each other. I mean, joking with each other is a sign of being at ease with somebody. So,
yes,
like the people in my assembly, when they first get here, they think you're picking on me. You don't have love for me. How come you're always like I do with Yoshi, right? Or like I do with Nechem.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to get used to you, though. That's it.
I started to do that with Marilyn and Amos and everybody else. In other words, from the world, we've been so beat up and abused by people making fun of us.
Yeah.
That when it's done in the kingdom, that to me, and I don't understand everybody. I don't expect everybody to understand it, but that means I like you and I'm comfortable enough with you to allow you to laugh with me or sometime a little bit even at me, but as long because I know the respect is there.
Right.
You could laugh at something I do or did, but I know who you are.
Right.
Some idiot on Facebook that says, "Hi, my name is Bobby Lane Joe, and you're a false prophet, and you suck. Bye, goodbye. You're not going to get the time of day."
Thanks.
But see, but the people in my ministry have learned that if you know the word kibbutz, right?
Right.
The Yiddish word kibbutz, which is like Josh with them. If I kibbutz with them, they know that I like them, that I'm not picking on them. Right. But when you come in here, you think, wait a second, he's always firing Yoshi, right? I fired Yoshi like 400 times. If he doesn't know my heart, then he would revert to the old man.
Yes,
which was not a very nice person.
I was gonna say, don't make Yoshi mad.
So, but they've learned that it's the father, joking with theirs, So anyway.
And that's right.
That needs to be earned. That needs to be earned. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can make fun of Peter, not make fun of him, but laugh with him or make him laugh. Okay, in something he does, and he won't take offense. But you just can't come off the street.
Yeah, you definitely, and I think everybody knows that. I think people with any basic moniker of common sense knows that if you've developed no relationship, you spent zero time with someone, and you walk in the door. And you think you're going to drop some knowledge on somebody, you know that's going to get vertically filed. I mean, come on, man. Everybody knows that. It's going to get vertically filed. And so, by the way, you need a second witness, too. It's another thing. What are you, Lucifer in the garden here? We need a second witness, okay? So you deliver your message and leave it. And that's how that works. Maybe you're first, maybe you're second. You don't know. But I'll tell you this, if nobody comes to back up your word, then we know where to vertically file it.
Yep. Somebody comes to me and says, "I got a word from you." I said, "Okay, I'm ready." But wait a second. I don't know you. I don't know anything. Before we begin, what assembly are you under? Who is your covering? Well, I'm Jesus. Well, no, I didn't ask you that. Where is your assembly?
I don't need no stinky shepherd.
Then I don't receive the word.
Exactly.
I do not receive the word. I said, "No, thanks."
That's right.
I said, "Sir, I'm a little bit busy right now. I'm sorry." No.
That's right. You know why? Because if you can't get the basics of the kingdom, i.e., he adds to the assembly, such as should be saved, that one skipped you, You can skip all the rest. You can go ahead and skip the rest. Because again, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the slave maker, okay, the slave maker over there, that one gets your brain operating in a self-destructive cycle. Yes, it does. And you know how? By making you compete with everything around you instead of walking in unity and love. That's what wisdom does. Wisdom walks in harmony. Whereas the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the death tree, says, I'm right, you're wrong all day. All day. And that's what you'll find people who are still poisoned by that tree. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. None of you are wise when you do that.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter about being right. What matters is being righteous.
Righteous. Yep.
Okay, righteous. That doesn't mean you're always perfect. That means sometimes you have flaws. The righteous man falls 7 times, but gets back up. That's what makes him the righteous man. It's not that he makes the mistake. If you were only looking for mistakes and you're looking for some flawless people, by the way, you find some flawless people, please leave them alone because you'll mess them up. But,
Yep.
you know, you're looking for flawless. You're looking for this thing that doesn't have any error. What do you need it for then? What are your eyes for? Aren't you spotting error? Yes. Well, then you're needed. You're a filter. And instead of using that mouth to disrespect, you should have been using that mouth, number one, to intercede, because any discernment you had was your first responsibility was to pray for your brother, not to come complain or talk or what have you. You're going to talk first, go to the throne, then to the phone. Secondly, caring enough about your brother to lay your life down. That might manifest in a very long, detailed letter where you spent hours making a very clear, respectful point, not something off the top of just off the cuff, but sacrificed your time, sacrificed your life to say, let me spend some time sharing this with my brother. And maybe, just maybe, he might hear me. And you send that with enough love and enough respect and lay your life down for your brother. It's going to be hard for him to not receive that.
Right.
But you see how much energy you're putting in? It's called an energy match. And in science, in the natural world, there's a truth that they say no energy can be created, right? Let's go with that. What you give in is what's coming out. When you have low energy in, what are you expecting out of this relationship? Let's step it up.
Right.
You want influence? Step it up.
So Yahweh had put on your heart the topic of fear and courage.
Yes.
In life and in our day. So like
Amen.
we say in podcasting, take the liberty.
Well, the fear element is a reflection of a lack of information. Fear is a reaction that we have when we are missing data. And that's just my opinion. Now, what the scripture tells us is that the spirit of fear has torment. And why are we tormented? What is it that sets us free from torment? The truth. The truth. So one of the things that we all suffer from is the penalty or the side effect of mass deception, of a lot of lying. Lying that we didn't do to one another. In other words, you and I didn't write some of these falsehoods, and we didn't do all. We're uncovering them, but we didn't put these traps and snares out there for people. We didn't. We're not the ones that twisted words like glory or holy or things like that. We didn't do any of that. We're undoing things that we're finding. So those that have that kind of heart, they're kind of on board. Ooh, I found another thing. Hey guys, I found something. It's a team effort. But when you feel assaulted, watch this now, because instead of defending the truth, you're defending a philosophy or a doctrine or a creed. Okay, you're defending a creed, a Christian Talmud. All right. And you didn't even think of it that way, but you're defending it. You're like literally ready to die for it. And you didn't even know where it came from. That kind of stuff is what I believe is inducing even more fear, more uncertainty, because there is a rejection of truth that would set them free.
But isn't the core of fear, one of the cores of fear, insecurity?
Insecurity is common sense when you have fixed points that are wrong. So sometimes your insecurity is just good common sense. I hate to say it like that, but sometimes you're insecure because you are insecure. You're standing on sand. I wouldn't want you to feel secure standing on sand.
Let me rephrase that. So let's take it into the medical arena.
Okay.
So I have literally, I'm sure the average person listening to our podcast today, when they hear, especially as you age, when they hear a bone or there's a diaphragm pain or your pectorals are tight, they're pulling, we could swear that we're on the way out, we're going down, we're going to die within a couple hours. I mean, if I had to look back, I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people. The slightest thing we hear or we think we hear in our temple, and then the insecurity of Yahuwah's in charge, the insecurity, and even if or what if, and then fear kicks in. That's something I deal with all the time, and then I have to remember, in a best case scenario, I'm with Yahuwah. In a worst case scenario, I'm with Yahuwah. But there's a lot of fear, but just hearing things that are not the big one,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you're convinced, woo, I was close. Maybe you weren't close. Fear is crippling.
Here's one for you. How many times, in the previous decade, not this one, go back a whole decade. How many times in that decade did you feel like, oh gosh, mammy, I'm coming, right? You didn't know.
Elizabeth.
Right? Elizabeth.
Red Fox.
Right?
I'm
I'm
coming to join you, honey.
Yeah, you didn't know when. You're like, oh my goodness, right? And then here you are, 2026. So I think that right in and of itself tells you that our enemy loves to try to scare us and try to put us in a state of perpetual fear.
Yeah.
He loves to threaten us. This is one of his favorite things. He likes to come, I'm gonna. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Nothing. Without
okay?
Yeah.
You gonna talk is what you gonna do. You gonna burn is what you gonna do. But you ain't gonna do nothing else. And see, when they lose the intimidation factor, by the way, the devil's a bit of a bully, right? And so one thing I learned as a young man is you have no choice but to step up to a bully. You have no choice. And when I did that at 17 years old, I had to step up to a bully, and my life completely changed. Literally from that moment, I went from an introvert who was almost scared of his shadow kind of thinking process to I'm done. I'm done letting this bullying thing, I'm done letting this happen. And I'm not a bully. So I, of course, did not want to hurt the person, but I wanted them to know that the days of them hurting me were over.
How do you apply that to the spiritual realm?
Because you have to let your enemies know, listen, you cannot cast every devil out of the earth. You cannot throw out every demon. You cannot, some people think they're throwing everything into the abyss. You guys don't read your Bibles. But let me just tell you this. What you can do is own your space. What you can do is own your spot. You can own the borders of your land, the borders of your property, the borders of that which belongs to you. You cannot change the fact that outside the gate are dogs. If in the New Jerusalem outside the gates are dogs, shouldn't be shocked if outside your gates are dogs. Just saying.
But since we're apostles at the gates and we approach this from a unique up-down perspective and down-up.
That's right.
So how would you address fear? Because fear is our topic for today. How would you address the laity's fear of leadership or the leader's fear of the people? Like I've known many pastors, you were talking about being bold and courageous and learning as a child. I've known many pastors or leaders that to keep the sheep, to keep the money, whatever, they will not confront. And confronting, you cannot be in the fivefold without learning how to confront firmly and in love. I mean, not confront to bully, but to keep order.
Something the Sholiak and I know.
Do you realize there's a lot of sheep that are afraid of you, Peter?
Yes.
There's a lot of sheep that are afraid of me. And so how do we overcome that? The fear of the sheep toward the leader and the fear of the leader toward the sheep. what I do, just let me throw something out there. I eat with the people. I laugh with the people.
Hmm.
You know, I have a glass of wine with the people like twice a year. I don't drink. Okay. No, but I do them 2 or 3 times a year when I'm in the mood. So the point is, I'm one of the people. I
Right.
find that's one way to overcome fear. But you have to understand, I think you do understand, that a lot of these people that I don't need no stinking shepherd people,
Yeah.
they're afraid of they're afraid that another leader is going to do to them what the Epstein file people have done in the natural. How do we
That's a-
overcome? How do we overcome? How do they overcome that fear?
Well, I think that's a really good question. I think it's a series of questions that you asked there. One of the biggest things I think we all have to deal with is walking in genuine love. Um, so here's the question that I have to ask you is, when did fear become so important? If you have, so here's my belief, and I'll just share with you things that move me, right? I heard something many years ago that stayed with me. Peril is real, but fear is a choice. And it stayed with me ever since the day I heard that. That one line was a powerful line. And I thought, that's amazingly simple. That's incredibly correct. Peril is very real. We have to all be very concerned about peril. Peril is a possibility. Somebody could hurt you. You could fall off a cliff. You could, do something that would be hurtful to you. Yes, you could. That is true every day on earth. No exceptions. You could walk out on traffic. You could drink something that's spoiled and it gives you botulism. I mean, there's peril everywhere, right? But to walk in fear, that's a choice, because what you're choosing to believe is in your enemy's ability to hurt you is greater than your father's ability to protect you. So it's not that there isn't peril,
Well said.
okay? But I simply don't have very high confidence in my enemy's ability to hurt me when I have high confidence in my father's ability to defend me.
Yes. Very well said. Yeah.
He protects me with a jealousy. And if you can't see that, then you just don't have eyes to see. So I don't have to prove it to you. I live it. So that's what I think is the
Very
ultimate. And
well
by the
said.
way, I think it's the number one reason why people get intimidated. If you were easy, in other words, if there were low-hanging fruit, okay, things that they could pick up any given week and just throw in your face, they wouldn't be intimidated by you. It's when they have to go back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years just to find something that they think they can dig their teeth into. They have to go back that far in their own lives. No, they can go back the next week. So that's what intimidates them, is your walk, your intensity, and your consistency. But that's just what we're called to be, examples onto the flock.
Yep. That was very powerful. Your consistency, and your walk. That's very powerful. That is which they believe they're incapable. I had someone tell me the other day, we're trying to
Mm.
work with them and try to nurse them back into right standing with Yahuwah. They told me, you know, on second thought, the fear took over. She said, on second thought, I'm not good enough to be part of your ministry. You guys
Way
are,
up here. Yes.
you ever get that?
Yes, all the time, all the time. I think that intimidation factor is appropriate. You should be intimidated. Good. Hold on to that. I used to think, oh, let me reduce that intimidation. Oh, let me buy you some donuts. Oh, let me make you feel more comfortable. I've come on the other side of that. Shake good. Okay. Recognize that the king chooses people. And if you're not sure, go spell that person's name right in front of them fast for 3.
I'm
Don't
sorry,
have that.
we keep losing connection here. I don't know what's going on,
It's
but
all right. It
sorry.
happens sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Go
you
ahead.
don't do that, then you don't end up with the breakthrough. Are we still on?
Well, I want to visit that some more. So
We
explain
are
that.
still on. I don't see messages. So are we still on?
We're on here. We're
Okay.
on.
All right.
Let me see. We're broadcasting.
Okay, good. Good.
So let me. I want to just stay on that for a second. Please go into that a little bit deeper. The
The
I'm not
intimidation
good enough
factor.
for your
Let's talk about
ministry. I'm not good enough for your ministry.
that. Yes.
You guys are like way more. I don't know, dedicated. I don't want to be controlled. How do you? How
The
do
word
you?
I hear is intense.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
word I hear.
I hear that too. Yeah,
Yep. You guys are intense, man. Right?
intense, intense.
Yes. Yes. And yes, I'd rather be in the tense than out of the tense. Because the tense is very important to know the proper tense, especially when you're reading the word. Okay, rightly dividing the word of Yahuwah requires you remain in the correct tense. So being in tense is a good thing. I also believe that you're hot or cold. And so those that are trying to make lukewarm acceptable will find us problematic. Again, once you discover something is the truth and you're walking in it, right? And that doesn't mean you don't reach back for people that are still struggling. We try to do that. We try to reach back for people that are still,
Without
surely
lowering the
every week.
bar.
Yeah,
Without
we do this
lowering the
all the
bar.
time. We don't always make you stay up with us on the very cutting edge. We know that it takes a minute. When Sholiak began talking about the Parousia, all of his congregation now had to start doing the study that he'd already been doing. So they had to pick up where he initiated it. That takes time and patience to let them come along, do their processing, listen, go through the scriptures, take the time. You're taking strongholds down, folks. Those don't go down easy. And there's clearing debris. You don't just knock the building down. You got to bring in the bulldozers to remove all the debris. There's a lot of debris. How many of you have ever found yourself singing some song or saying some stupid statement that came from a long time ago? And you're like, what's that still doing there?
Yeah.
Those are fragments or debris from previous stronghold destruction that may still have some rubble around, right? And you got to constantly be cleaning up. This is the walk that we walk. So if you're seeing spotty results, this is what I would be looking at. My advice to everybody is I would look at Deuteronomy 28 and I would say, what are my results? What are my results? Because if I'm experiencing the curse, how many know your remedy needs to be radical? So if you look in that book, the book you got on your coffee table, and you open it to Deuteronomy 28, and you start reading the symptoms of the curse, and you say, this is on my life, this is on my family, my cousins, my brother, my sister, this just happened, I just saw this, and you know it, right? Then you now know that you are under a curse. Now you know what you have diagnosis, right? Now, how do you remedy that? This is what makes it intimidating, because people are looking for the correct remedy and they don't know who to trust. That's reasonable.
So the fear
That is reasonable.
The fear between leaders and their sheep, and between sheep and leaders. So what are some practical steps that we can take to overcome that apprehension?
Oh, that's very simple. You guys all ready? It's not going to take me long. This kind cometh not out.
Fasting and prayer.
That's simple. Why could we not cast it out? Because of your unbelief.
But
because you have more confidence in your enemy's ability to hurt you than you have confidence in your Father's ability to deliver you. Your faith is on display.
Is it healthy for there to be fear between the leaders and their sheep, especially someone who's coming out of a system where they were spiritually abused?
I don't know. You tell me. Do you think it would have been beneficial for the people to be?
It's a very tough subject.
I think the people being afraid of Moshe would have been to their benefit, because they wouldn't have tried to kill him. And when they tried to kill him, they ended up with a 40-year sentence in the wilderness. So do I think that it would have been better for them to have been a little intimidated? Yeah. Yeah. Because had they been, they wouldn't have been sentenced to 40 years. They'd have been more respectful. But because they just thought of him as just another guy.
But doesn't intimidation bring on fear? So
no, not the same thing.
Not fear of Yahuwah, but
many times people are intimidated because they know they're dirty.
What I'm saying to you is there are people that are fear of me, whether by reputation,
right,
or by lies or innuendos, and I'm sure that applies to every leader. And then the leader has fear of what the sheep can do to him. They can destroy his reputation. They can gossip, slander, or they can withhold mammon. So, I mean, fear has torment. So how do we remove this torment in the horizontal, but also the vertical?
Well, again, the solution is the same in both cases.
Fasting and prayer.
Fasting and prayer. Why? Because you're going to get closer to the Father, and perfect love is what casts out all fear. So you need to come into his perfect love. You need to understand his love for you is perfect, and it's sufficient. Okay, so Eliyahu did not need anybody else to love him. And it took me a long time to get there. And it's a lonely spot. I'll give you that. It's a lonely place. But when you get to the place where you only need one or two in your life, you really are to that point where you're honed into him that much. Two or three is all you need to agree. And you're already blowing doors open. This thought that you need this giant crowd behind you, all you leaders out there, we got a meeting next week. Don't forget to join us.
Sunday,
You know, if you think you need a giant crowd behind you, that's a crutch. You need to get through that. Eliyahu did not have a crowd when he did what he was called to do. They became his crowd.
Let me give you an example. Like I've had fears over the years.
Mhm.
Tell me how you see it.
Yes.
You know, I'm very guardian oriented in terms of the chemistry of the camp,
Mm-hmm.
taking the temperature of the camp. And I have a fear, even though fear has torment, I got that. But I have a fear of taking the wrong people back.
It's a good fear.
To mess with the chemistry of the saints. Let's say you have perfect shalom,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to take back an individual or individuals, and you know it can mess with the chemistry. So, in one hand, it's wisdom, but on the other hand, I don't want fear to close doors of people who want to be healed,
Mm-hmm.
people who want to be delivered,
Right.
because of a leader's insecurity and because of a leader's fear. They're not willing to take someone back into the fold that Yahusha wants to put back into the fold. There's a lot of stuff here. I know the average person may not have a clue what I'm talking about, but you do.
Right.
You do. So how do we deal with all that?
Well, I think our sister Lydia just said it. We have an audience of one. You know, for me, and I said this during 1999, and I said it during the talk that I went around the country. It's been repeated everywhere. I don't preach to the crowd. I preach to the cloud. The great cloud of witnesses. That's my fam bam. And the rest of you are auditioning to be part of the cloud. They're already there.
Okay, now to the average person that just heard that,
Mm-hmm.
that has no pastor, I don't need no stinking shepherd. Just what you just said, they will never draw near to your ministry because you've just chased them away. Because you happen to be right. I mean, you happen to be right. The reason I know you're right is because I'm one of you. Okay, but just understand that's intimidating to someone who wants to put their feet in lukewarm.
And they want you to accommodate them. They want to come and join your ministry as if they're doing you a favor, and you get the privilege of serving them. You know, it's like they came to your spa and it's a resort, and you're running like a bellman to pick up their luggage. And that's the attitude a lot of people have when they arrive at assembly doors, as if, I'm here. Are the bellmen coming to get my luggage?
Right.
This sort of, I'm here, this kind of attitude, as opposed to coming to serve. And remember that the assembly is a place of crushing. It's a place where your old life is crushed off of you, like the cover of a seed, so we can get to the good stuff. Like taking the chaff away from the wheat, that kind of thing. So to think that you're coming into the fellowship to throw your feet up like you're going to a Scottsdale resort, or you're going to, San Diego to have, Mai Tais on the beach. It's not the same. And that mentality, unfortunately, does come from churchianity, because they kept getting the cushion sticker. They kept getting the latte sticker out in the front. They bought the best latte machines. They bought why? Because they went the other way. They're like, no, let's make them really comfortable.
So in other words, we keep forgetting that we are the army of Yahuwah, that the army of Satan is well organized, and we want to be disorganized. But I'm just saying what you just said. The rest of you are auditioning.
That's right.
You preach to the cloud and not the crowd.
That's right.
Which is true, and it's for the benefit of the people. But someone that hears, well, I'm saved, I've been saved longer than the pastor, and I'm not auditioning for anybody. Okay, I'm gonna come into the assembly, and I'm gonna test him. Their attitude is not like, it's just, there's fear, is what I'm saying.
Well,
There's
I personally believe that one of the things that makes it intimidating is they can't match you. So it's one thing for me to say, okay, I notice this about people. So when they feel like you are literally out of their league, then the only thing they can do is bring you back down to size. Okay, to try to bring you down to a level they can attack you at. So somebody comes along and says something about the Ristine, for example, and my very first words were, "Where's yours? Where's yours?" And well, I don't have one. Then shut up and sit down. And they know that. They know what's coming next because I don't play.
right there.
Don't
You're
mess with my
abusive.
friend.
Then they turn around. Listen, he's
Yeah.
abusive. He's harsh, and there's no love. Do you ever notice that
I'm a grandpa.
Do you ever notice that the people who leave, it's usually a commonality is there's no
Mhm.
love here.
That's
Now
right.
they may have a nuanced complaint, but the underpinning is there's no love. There's no messianic love here.
You're right. And that was a lack of love to attack the brother's work. Listen carefully to what I'm about to say, because what came first, the chicken or the egg? It was a massive lack of love to show no respect for my brother's hard work and to say that it was somehow inferior or somehow came low or came under the standard. Yet you are not walking up. You came empty-handed. You came empty-handed. Do not appear before me empty. And you stood here with no remedy at all, but you talk smack. Man, I'm going to snap one off on you. And I don't care if you don't like me. There's a few people that will. My grandpa brigade will be like, get him, Peter. Okay? They'll be, get him, Peter. We've had about enough of this childless behavior, people blaming other people for their emotional baggage. Let me just finish this one point.
Yeah.
This is why a lot of you have fear, because you're afraid of your baggage coming out. You're afraid of your past being revealed. Let me help you out. We read your mail. We only tell you what he tells us to tell you. We see it all. You cannot hide it. You're pretending to yourself that you can. You cannot. You never know when he's revealing to us everything that you're trying to hide.
Another thing
that's intimidating.
Yes. Another thing I hear between leaders and congregants is and this is a big one. This is a big one. Even those who stay in the camp, not just those who are outside the camp and who leave the camp, fear of being controlled. That's a big one.
Yes. Control.
Part of the abuse is like the people that leave here or the people that have voted against me. They're not going to tell you I'm a drug abuser. They're not going to tell you I'm an alcoholic.
How many think control is a bad word? How many thought that?
They're not going to accuse me of being a womanizer because I'm not. But what they will say, and there's this commonality. Okay?
You're a control freak.
Correct. That's the fear. I will not go to Peter's. I will not go to whatever. I will not.
It's a control freak.
Because they're correct.
Let me ask you a question. If somebody said about you, he's a love freak, would you be upset? He's a love freak. He just loves love so much. Joy, he's a joy freak. Peace, he's a peace freak. Patience freak, he a patience freak. Kindness freak, you a kindness freak. Man, you just too kind. You got a kindness problem. You just over kind, okay? Meekness, gentleness, just too much. You just demasiado, too much of this kindness. What's the last of the fruit of the Ruach Sholiach?
Got to think. Control?
Self.
Self-control.
Oh, wait. The word that everyone thinks is a bad word. Hold on a minute.
Auto-control.
Hold on a minute. The bad word. Control.
Wow, that's a good point.
Wait a second.
Wow.
The problem isn't control. The problem is who.
Write that down, everybody. Write it down.
Okay. You don't want somebody outside you controlling you. That's correct. You are not a slave. You better tune in to the next 3 weeks of our Shabbat, because I'm going to tear this up. You are not a slave. This is why you resist anything coming from the outside of you. Anything coming from the outside of you, you resist, as you should, because you are supposed to be planted by the rivers of living water, and it's supposed to come from the inside of you, right? So you instinctively know that when something's coming from the outside of you, you are not the one using cognition. You are not the one calculating. You are not the one processing. You are not operating by revelation. You are operating by regulation. And one man's regulation should never become another man's, or one man's revelation rather, should never become another man's regulation, because that's outside them and creates religion. I want you to go alone, go fast, go pray, and come back and say, Yahuwah spoke to me. I got it in my heart. This is my house. Why do you need that? Because I'm not going to be diplomatic. My job is a washing machine. And that's rough, baby. I'm a drill sergeant. You come to me all civilian, and I'm gonna turn you into a soldier. I'm gonna turn you into a champion. And if you don't want that, stay away from me, because I'm a coach, I'm a grandpa, and I will knock that stuff right off you. Come on, somebody. Woo! Hallelujah.
Go ahead. The enemy's not happy with this message.
Well, I think he wants people intimidated for the wrong reasons. And I think that business professionals are intimidating. I think, Tony Robbins is intimidating. Anybody that has success is intimidating. Anybody that's moving is intimidating. All kinds of people can be intimidating because you suddenly realize that you are coming less than. But here's the difference. The Sholiach will lay their lives down for you to get you where you belong.
If they're a covenant person and if they're vulnerably seeking help.
That's right. That's why I'm here.
We don't have time for phonies. In other words, let me see if I got you, and I can speak for both of us on this issue. If we see you're a phony or a fake, not only we will not provide services, we're going to come down on you like an apostle. But if you're a hurting puppy and you want to change,
oh yeah,
you'll find us to be like
tender,
the most mellow and timid of anybody you could find.
The most tender people. Listen, this is the thing. You see right? Two sides. Yes, right? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You saw two sides of Messiah too. Didn't you see his whoof, man, don't mess with him side? You saw that.
I don't want people to get the wrong impression. Just because you're an apostle or a prophet, we want to be meek and timid and sensitive with people who are hurting, they're wounded, they want to change. But while they're changing, they're not tearing down the structure that you build all your life, that Yahushua has built through you. But if someone is a phony and they're worried about being controlled, they're more worried about being controlled than they are worried about getting healed. And then we spot you as a fake or a phony, we're not going to help you. We're probably going to dismiss you in one way or another, whether it's physically, and even if it's not physically, it could be in the amount of time that we dedicate to you. You follow me? Mm-hmm. We're just naturally going to dedicate time into the vessels of honor.
That's right. Well,
we're not going to dedicate and invest our limited time on earth to vessels of dishonor. Vessels of dishonor eschew the covenant. They don't chew the covenant. They eschew the covenant. So if we know you're a covenant person, if Peter knows, or I know, or a true leader knows that you're going to be here for 20 years, regardless of the offenses that will come and not come, then we're going to put more time into you, not because you worship us, Yahweh forbid, but because you're dedicated and you want to change. So what I'm trying to say.
That's right. That's good word.
The nicest guy.
That's right.
I could even go with you for a walk in the park. Okay? I could even put my arm around you. Okay? In a proverbial sense. But I've got to know this is a two-way street.
That's right. Because you do need to know that.
I was going to rebuke me for casting pearls before swine.
Let me ask you a question, guys, and I'm going to confirm what Sholiach just said. So he just made several great points. One of the biggest things that we don't want to feel is fear. Now, my wife, beautiful woman, right? Everybody can see Mindy. Everybody knows that she's a beautiful woman. And there's an old song, when you're in love with a beautiful woman, you watch your friends, right? Everybody wants her. Everybody needs her. She's the most beautiful woman they know, right? Okay. So what happens? What do you got to be? Well, you got to be no joke. Now you got to be the sweetest guy. You got to be kind, loving. But let somebody mess with your wife and see if they don't see a different side of you. Let somebody mess with your family.
Very true.
And see if they don't see a different side of you.
Very true.
So here's the way this works. And this is where my grandchildren, they know my rule. My rule is nobody gets hurt. They love being with Bappa. They love being with me because they know no one's going to get hurt when Bappa's in charge, okay? Bappa keeps everybody chill, right? And that's my rep with my babies, my grandchildren, with my children, with my family, and those that know me. We keep peace. Shalom is not optional. It's what we do. Now, I will step to you. I have no problem stepping to somebody because there's a peace that can only be found at the end of war, and I am one who will fight it. Sometimes you have no choice but to confront. That happens, but that's not our preference. Yeah. But we have to have that gear. We can't be afraid of confrontation. And I think that's what intimidates, is when they feel like you are toothless, they're not intimidated by you. But when they see that you are a master swordsman, and that if they do come at you disrespectfully or attack somebody in your midst, they might get eviscerated. Yeah, they're intimidated. Good.
So you believe that
behave yourselves.
Right. So you believe the control is an excuse. Like, I don't want to.
Yes, it is. It's the last fruit of the spirit. You should never even say that word in a negative way.
So if somebody says, the reason I left that ministry is there's a controlling spirit.
So the Ruach of Yahuwah brings you into self-control. Go ahead and blaspheme again. Go ahead and use that word again with blasphemy in your heart.
That's a very good point. The Ruach of Yahuwah is a controlling spirit.
That's right. He controls. He brings in control. You're out of control.
It'll teach you how to keep your mouth shut. It'll teach you how not to gossip.
Yup.
It'll teach you how not to slander.
Come on.
It'll teach you how to keep your pants and your skirt on.
Come on.
Control.
Come on, brother.
Which is why some people leave Yahusha, because they don't want any control.
They don't want no control.
See, the person that'll leave you because they accuse you of being a controlling spirit, they will also are capable of leaving Yahusha, because the unclean spirit in them knows that submission to Yahusha is control.
Listen, I don't care how you feel.
You follow what I'm saying?
I really don't care. But you know what I care about?
They will leave Yahusha as quick as
they leave you. That's with my sister.
As quick as they leave you, they will leave Yahusha because they don't want to be controlled. If they don't want to be controlled by Yahuwah's government, inevitably they can cast Yahusha off real easy.
That's why they want us shepherds taken out, because like take my sister, or my brother, and they come under shelter. They come under shelter, either armed, right? Or they come into an apostolic house. Now you go attack that person like you always do. Except this time they had already joined an apostolic. You didn't know this, but they joined an apostolic house. And then you went and attacked them. Oh, wait a minute. Something changed. What happened? What happened, boo-boo? All of a sudden you found out he wasn't by himself, or she wasn't by themselves anymore. And then all of a sudden somebody said, excuse me? What was that? No, I got this. What was that?
Right.
And they're like, oh, sorry, Apostle Peter. I didn't know. No, I got this, sweetheart. What was that you just said? And all of a sudden that intimidation, you know what it's for? You better lay your fingers off that gentle sheep who ain't doing nothing to you. You leave them alone. Now you go play along over there. And all of a sudden the kid that's being misbehaving, he recognized that authority and he says, yeah, you're right, bro. Yes, Uncle Peter, right? Right. Yes, Brother Peter. Why? Because they knew they were doing what was wrong. And they don't want you there because they don't want someone to call them out. But love rebukes, my friends. Love chastens. Love corrects. Love will come and talk to you. Okay? Why? Not because they want to intimidate you, but because when it's time to defend what belongs to Yahuwah, you are supposed to be his garden keeper.
Yes, absolutely.
Woo! That fires me up. I keep my father's garden. I keep it. You come into my gate.
What you're saying is the mature sheep realize that they are not, and I harp on this all the time, They are
That's right.
not to go bowling. They are not to play cards. They are not to play Monopoly with a person that has falsely charged.
Uh-oh, I just lost your mic. It may just be me. Nope. I just lost your mic. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, now you're good.
So you are not to eat with them. It says not even to eat with such a one. So I think that as maturity comes upon the flock of Yahuwah, we learn to shield our leaders, because this is an army. This is the
That's
army
right.
of Yahuwah.
That's right.
And people do not understand the term Yahuwah Sabaoth.
No, they don't.
The master of hosts. It's not it's not just the hosts of heaven that are Yahuwah's army. It is the hosts of Yahuwah on the earth.
Amen.
We are the army of Yahuwah. Therefore,
amen.
When you entertain aught against your leaders, you are participating in treason, because we are not a church of solitaire. We are not a church of blackjack.
Oh, that's well said.
We are not a church of a bowling league. This is not. We don't join an assembly to go bowling. we are in an army, and you do not dare bring railing accusations against your sergeant or your commander.
Nope.
Because you will be court-martialed and cleaning toilets, and people don't understand that. Now, so what Peter said today is maybe the most important thing that I've heard in a long time. And you might know something, but when somebody else says it, right? When somebody else says it, it kind of hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that spirit of Yahusha, the spirit of Yahusha, is a controlling spirit.
How about that?
Self-control.
Wait a minute now. Hold on a minute, Sholiak. Let me just go ahead and practice.
That is deep, man.
Let me process this. Let me process this.
Deep,
ooh, control is a bad word. Oh, wait, it isn't. Who told me it was? Hold on. Come here, devil. Got me out here saying stuff that ain't even true. Got me speaking things like, well, you're just trying to control me. Somebody need to control that. Okay, I can see the Ruach ain't in control.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? How many know we can look at people and go, well, we can see the Ruach's not in control. And the fire of Yahuwah, the fury of Yahuwah remains in his people. He makes us ministers of flame. We stay hot.
What about when Yahusha said to leaders, turn over such a one to Satan for the destruction of the flesh? Isn't that control? We're controlling the camp.
Bunch of control freaks, right?
We're controlling the holiness. We're controlling the purpose. We're controlling the vision, so people are not destroyed. Lack of knowledge, lack of vision.
Don't you control the money, and so it doesn't just go everywhere? Don't you control the door?
And if you don't control your sexual drive, you'll be doing 50 years.
Come on.
Or you'll be burning in the pit like all the other pedophiles that think they're getting away with it. All you Republicans, your family values people, you're a bunch of liars. Just like your Democratic counterparts. And yeah, you are getting away with it. But the one who will control you on his terms, you're going to meet him one day, and you will be under control. Trust me.
That's
like Philippians 2 says, every knee shall bow. Every knee shall bow. That means he's going to control your knees, your mind. You'll be under full control.
You're headed towards control, people. You better get over that concept. Okay? That's like saying, I want to be debt-free. What another lie. Luciferian deception. There's no possibility of you ever reaching a place called debt or obligation free. Love will always oblige you to do things that otherwise you wouldn't do, and you'll do more than you would have if you had a financial debt, because love it compels you in ways that no other thing can compel you. So this whole notion that you could ever reach a place where you're obligation free is the most Luciferian nonsense. You might as well just go ahead and make your appointment with the abyss, because that's nonsense. There you have it.
So the believer who has a healthy understanding of how the kingdom works, how prayer and fasting is how they overcome fear of their leaders, right? And how leaders overcome fear of a potential harm coming from a sheep. Because
Listen, I just heard from a brother who did this exact thing. He didn't know the answer. And
like I told you, one second. Like I told you before, and I'm going to admit this because the word says, confess your faults one to another that you may be healed.
Yes.
One of my fears, and I'm sharing this just to show people that it's okay to share your fears.
Yeah.
So you can overcome them. Don't just sit in the congregation and shake your head. Go to the pastor, go to the pastor, go to the apostle. Say, listen, I'm afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, but I'm afraid of your wife. Okay. Just be honest, be open, so these things can be dealt with, right? So one of my fears is allowing people to mess up the chemistry that we enjoy. You understand what I'm saying, but I don't know that everybody can. Now, I would like to have 100. I'd like to have 200, but not at the expense of shalom. Right. And not at the expense of the blessed unity, the bond of perfection. Unity is the bond of love, the bond of perfection.
That's right.
I'm not willing to mess that up, to take an extra tithe or to take an extra 5 families back. That's always something that I wrestle with. Always something that I wrestle with. I don't know how much of it is insecure, how much of it is fear, how much of it is kadosh, godly concern. I don't know. But that's something I always wrestle with. That.
Well, I think it's a reasonable thing to wrestle with. And I think that their internal wranglings is exactly where Yahuwah wants you. Remember, he wrote his Torah on the inside. This is, again, I don't want to do spoiler alerts because I'm going to be talking about this for the next 3 weeks. But, the fact is that that's where slavery comes from. And this is what's being attacked against humanity. We're going to go over that. We're going to show you where this attack's coming from. We're going to show you how you're supposed to walk in the Ruach to defend yourself. And yes, you will become intimidating. You want to know why? Because you're no joke. You become intense. A light's not good unless it's intense, especially if it's in the dark. What good is a light that's hid under a bushel?
So what you're saying is, as a leader, and I'm talking to leaders, you don't mind. You think there's nothing wrong with people being intimidated by your set apartness?
No, I think it's an actual reflection of the fact that you are set apart.
By your dedication.
Yes, I think that people who try to attack, for example, they're complimenting you. You're complimented by the enemies you have, and so the people that decide that they need to come against you is because you literally represent an existential threat to their paradigm, and you will literally rip apart. The reason why the Pharisees found Mashiach so offensive was not because of any doctrine he preached, but because of the implications. He was essentially destroying their system. That's what they were reacting to, because they had the love of mammon. The exact same reason why they will hate us, because we're telling you point blank and without any hesitation that anything you bring to an altar made with a 3-step rise, tools in a building, and you went to the altar call, you just inherited a curse. How do I know? Let's look at Deuteronomy 28, see if it's manifesting in your life. Oops, look at the symptoms. Oops, look at the symptoms. So if you're not sure if that altar with the 3 steps and the hewn stones and all the things Yahuwah said not to do has any effect, if you're not sure, just take a look at Deuteronomy 28 and see if that's manifested in your neighborhood. And if it's true, then you go, we've got a problem. And that's intimidating as well, because now here's what I find people get very intimidated by is they get intimidated by intelligence. And if you're ahead of them, they get very offended by that. So Moshe was way ahead, and as a result, he offended. Anytime you're way ahead, trust me, you guys all think that's a great place to be. It's not. You get attacked when you get way ahead. And so this is what happens when Yahuwah sends his servants. They get ahead, they stand, everyone else has to catch up. Do you think they're happy? Do you think they're thrilled to find out that they don't have the right altar? Do you understand what that does to their real
The whole
estate?
system collapses. Yep.
Oh my goodness, they're upset. And they just said this about the Jeffrey Epstein files. They said if we prosecute everyone, the system would collapse. That's a prophetic statement. That's a prophetic statement. Okay. And this goes to show you the corrupt system, because in their world, they would not prosecute everyone. But in the kingdom of Yahuwah, he will prosecute every single false altar. He will prosecute them. And that's why they're sitting in a curse and a lender among them, not one. So all this churchianity bragging like they're so blessed, they are such liars. Liars. They are not blessed. They are lying. They're all in debt. They are all slaves, and none of them know where the door is. They're walking up to altars that they don't even discern, with trees and stuff all over it. They don't even discern what they're doing, and yet they want to give you advice and come into your chat and tell you what to do.
Can you go over what you said earlier? I forgot exactly what it was. Fear versus peril, was it?
Peril is real. Perils are very real. So, for example, I mean, it's a dangerous world, man. People get mad. They can get emotional. All kinds of things can happen, right? But fear is a choice. So when you make a choice to do something despite the peril, then you're making a calculated, courageous choice. So what is courage? Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is going anyway.
Yeah.
You think I wasn't intimidated
anyway.
to stand up on the hill? When I went up the side, when I went up on the, when I crossed in 2015, and I was walking up to the Mount of Olives, and the man sitting at the bottom of the hill at the Church of All Nations, and he's sitting there at the corner at the hill where I'm about to walk up, and he's a Palestinian, but man, he looked like a European. His face went so white. I'm not kidding. He was afraid for me. He was afraid for me. He said, "Where are you going, sir? You can't go up this hill. You can't go up there. You cannot go up this. You let me call a cab for you." His face turned white. I still remember this man. And it's been how many years? Why? Because I remember the moment. I'll never forget that moment. And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, I was prepared to lose my life. I was prepared to lose my life to blow that horn." Because I believed, and right or wrong, you can say whatever you want, but right or wrong, I believed the country was in my hands. I believed that with all my heart, that the United States of America was in my hands. And if I didn't make it up that hill, and if I didn't do what I was called to do, that this didn't go well. Now, I don't know if, you might say, well, I don't know if that's true. I don't care if you think it was or wasn't. I just know that that's how absorbed I was in my assignment. And I think everybody that's doing an assignment for Yahuwah has to believe that their assignment is the most important assignment in the world. Okay. And at that moment, every single person, whatever you're doing, if you think of children's church, you better be thinking that's the most important thing to be doing. Whatever you're doing, you better believe it's the most important thing. And so I believed it. I really believed, like I was crying for my country.
That's very important what you just said.
Okay. And I'm crying for my nation, and I'm crying for my country that doesn't even love me, country that hates me, a country that doesn't care about me one bit. And I'm Puerto Rican. I'm the wrong color, all kinds of stuff, right? It doesn't matter, because I love my country and I love this nation and I love my brethren. And so I laid my life down for them. And if it meant I was going to die on that hill, better my blood be spilt there than sitting doing nothing on a couch. So I figured, well, that's a good way to die. And how many know that sometimes you just got to accept a good death? And so I said, all right, well, if this is my death, I'd rather die here, but I'm blowing this horn.
Man, oh man, oh man.
I walked up that hill with that resolve, with not an ounce of American clothing on and no money from the United States. I did everything the king told me to do to pass the test of the rich young ruler. I'd given away everything I had so I could go up on that hill and blow that horn. Do you think I wasn't afraid? I was intimidated, but I went anyway.
And overcoming it. Yeah.
I went anyway. That's courage.
So courage is looking right. Correct. So courage is looking at fear and marching forward.
That's right. And not looking for an escape, or not looking for an excuse to excuse yourself. In other words,
it's not the absence of fear. It is the grabbing it and overcoming it.
I still heard my enemy cackling on the side. I still heard him. Listen carefully. I still heard my enemy on the side over here. I still discerned his voice over to the side. I heard my enemy to my left, and I saw them falling to my right. But my Father spoke to me.
Man.
And when my Father spoke to me and said, "You're mine, and I got you. Just keep walking."
But like you said, every soldier in the kingdom of Yahuwah,
amen,
must see themselves as doing the most important assignment, even though it may not be, because that's the kind of single eye. Because if your eye is double, if your eye is double, it's evil, right?
That's right.
Eye is a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Now, piggybacking on fear, self, and control, I don't know how anybody can read the book of Yaakov, James, and not see how Yahuwah wants you to be controlled by kadosh leaders and kadosh spirit, taming the tongue. Well, did it ever occur to you you may need a fivefold to help you tame your thoughts? You may need a fivefold to help you tame your proclivities.
Come on, man.
You may need a fivefold to help you proclaim your tendencies.
Not to do it for you, but to hold you accountable. You can't fool them.
How could my question to you, to the folks out there, how could anybody read the book of James and resent godly Shabbat guarding piety control by leaders, because every time they've tried to exert auto control, they got into a mess, meaning they didn't have the fullness of the Ruach or enough of the Ruach to exercise auto control. So Yahuwah in his love sent a parakletos, which was a helper, to teach you how to better raise your children.
And then get out of your way and let you do it.
How to better raise your home. In other words, you can't read the book of James and then throw the control accusation against the fivefold, because Yaakov was a fivefold. He was a mavaker of the Jerusalem assembly, right? And a lot of his theme is control your tongue, control your emotions, control the way you treat your employees, because the master of the harvest is watching you, right? Employees, control your attitude toward your overlords at work.
That's right.
He wants to be in control of every part of your life. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. Sometimes he's going to use people with 2 feet and 2 hands to get the job done.
And they're going to step to you. How many know that we need people that are not afraid to step and say, "Excuse me, what was that?" How many somebody abusing a child? You ain't going to move? You're a nice person. You're a nice guy. I know you are. You're a real sweet man. Okay. I know you are. Okay. I'm talking to all you sweet men out there. All right. And Julie, we're going to get to your question just in a moment. But you see them abusing a child. You're a sweet man. You don't normally confront anybody. Not have a violent bone in your body. You're a nice person, but all of a sudden you're into control. What's going on? All of a sudden you want to control that man. That man that's hurting another child, you want to control him. Isn't that funny how you suddenly want to be a controller? Right? You want to control that situation and keep him from hurting that child, didn't you? So it's really relative, and it really comes down to whether or not you are in control. If you are in self-control, you will not find anybody on the outside of you trying to control you. The key is self-control. Now, Sholiak, good question just come up. Julie, you asked a great question. She was a little bit behind. Even if you figured it out, we still should answer it for those that haven't yet. And Sholiak, the question is, what is this curse that might be on a false altar? Sholiak, would you like to take that?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay, well, it's right there in Exodus chapter 20. And he gives us specific specifications for all altars. So when you hear the word altar call, okay, or bring your gift to the altar, or come to the altar to pray, which has been used in churchianity since time immemorial. They had Ichabod Incorporated making indoor altars from the 1300s, okay, and continuously bringing in the same issues. And so, again, what is the point of this? Well, controllers want to control people. So this is a different kind of control. They're using witchcraft. So they have to get you to curse yourself. That's the trick. You guys have all figured this out. You figured out in other areas. You just didn't see it here. You didn't see this one. So the altar curse to get you to come forward and reverence something that Yahuwah told you not to do is a direct disrespect to him. Plus, it's essentially idolatry. Okay, so it's essentially the same as idolatry before Yahuwah.
I have it up on the
Okay.
screen for our sister. I have it up on the screen. You want to read it?
Yep. And so he says, you shall not make besides my Aluahayam of silver, neither shall you make for yourselves Alahim of gold. An altar of earth you shall make for me. So he's saying for me. For me. If it's for me, then it has to be an altar of earth. Now, if it's for you, that's a whole different thing. Go make whatever you want for yourself, for your false gods. He's already making this very clear. Look at verse 23. Who's he against? False gods, right? So this is idolatry. He's dealing with it squarely. Then he says, an altar of earth you shall make for me. You shall sacrifice there your burnt offerings, your shalom offerings, your sheep and your oxen in the place where I recorded my name. There I will come to you and I will baruch you. If you will make me an altar of stones, you shall not build it of cut stones. For if you lift up your tool upon it, you have polluted my altar. So neither should you go up by steps to my altar, that your nakedness be not discovered. I mean, they literally went and took this, Sholiak, looks like a checklist, and they went.
Did the opposite.
They did the opposite. Doesn't it? I mean, this looks like a certain doctrine that believes in doing the opposite. Do you know anything about that, Sholiak? About a doctrine that believes in doing opposites?
Yeah. It's called
And the people that promote such things, you know?
It's called Do It Thou Wilt. It's called Aleister Crowley 101.
Yeah.
It's called the Church
Satanism.
of Anton LaVey.
Yes. Okay, so you're going to buildings. If they said this is a satanic church, would you go? No. Do you think they're going to tell you that? No. They're going to do things, though, that will tell you if you know what to read or how to discern.
And
then you know you're in a satanic
and look
church.
at the checklist, like Apostle Peter was saying. Look, number one, do not make an altar or go to a worship center where my name is not recorded. Well, we got the J hook. That's check. They do the J hook. Jesus. Okay. Then it says, do not use a tool to construct my altar. Every one of those places, their altars are constructed with tools of all kinds. Next, you shall not go up naked. Well, if you know anything about Calvary Chapel and non-denominational churches, they're pickup centers to pick up booty and to pick up business cards. Okay, and I know that because I was in Calvary Chapel. All right, some of the way that men and women, I'm not going to pick on the women. Some of the way the men and the women dressed there, you might as well thought you were at a construction site or on a nude beach. So everything that Yahuwah tells them not to do, they do. Now, having said that, when we go over to the new covenant in Matthew 5, he leaves us one altar. All the false ones, all the fake ones, we're supposed to tear down and not even visit. But one remains, and that's the one for reconciliation between brethren in Matthew 5.
Somebody asked a question, Sholiak.
Yep.
Somebody says, they're inviting me to a meeting, and I know that they have in that building a false altar. Should I go? What's your counsel to that?
It all depends what the meeting is for, and how long is the visit, and what's the purpose, and what's
that's a great point.
Words, is it a funeral? Is it a funeral? I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. Is it a funeral? You're supposed to honor not only a loved one, but you're supposed to show honor to the family. How do you expect them to come to the gospel if you don't have enough decency to love your neighbor as yourself, right, and have enough decency to show up at the funeral? When you tell them about Yahusha, are they going to really listen? No. What they're going to remember is, I'm not listening to anything you have to say because the way you treated me when you didn't come to the funeral in the church. On the other hand, if you want to go to the church twice a month to please your spouse or to please your children, and you're making it a regular visitation, you are not to do so. So on an overall perspective, I would say motive, reason, purpose. Is it a long stay or a short stay? Like take Lot, for example. If he had gone into Sodom and Gomorrah to sell bread and eggs and come out, he would have been fine. The fact that he chose to stay there and become a judge was a problem. So all those things come into play. So you need only you can answer for yourself. What is your motive? Are you going there to practice the second greatest commandment of Matthew 22? Or are you going to explore the possibilities of going to an assembly that's non-scriptural, but it's close to home?
Amen.
What is the motivation?
Well, the book of Revelation tells us that he calls us out. Revelation 18. He says, come out over my people. His people. So he's very, very clear. It's about his people. And he says, come out. Clearly they were in, or he wouldn't have to call them out. Now, why were they in there? Well, probably assignment is the purest intentions would be assignment, get people saved. He sent them in to do ministry. He sent them in to heal. He sent them in to try to reach these people. Some of you might find yourself in that situation where he sent you in, and some of you may be on a mission, right? And he sent you into these places for a mission, for a ministry mission, right? And so you say, okay, I can see that, because I can see we're not in agreement with this ministry that we're in, but he sent us here. Like, we know we got a word that he told us to come here. Well, you might be shining your light, right? That's not going to stay. You're not going to probably stay there, but you're shining your light there for a time period, right?
You're not there to glean cyanide or strychnine.
Right. You're there to try to rescue different situations.
To rescue souls. You're on assignment. But here's how you know. An assignment has a termination date.
Yes, I was just going to say that. There's an end to it.
But a covenant
has no end.
An altar, a 12-stone altar, is a forever act of repentance or forever act. Whereas if you're called to be a light in the Roman Catholic Church, then it's seasonal. Yahuwah is going to give you. He's going to timestamp it. He's going to timestamp it.
When you consider, and that's a great point, Sholek, thank you for that. When you consider that the 12-stone altar, which is here on the line of the east gate, I'm looking right out at it, with a flag of Yahuwah right there, and when you look at that, you see the stones. But what you don't maybe realize is the stones were there all along. I did not bring those stones. I didn't put them in a truck and none of that. Those stones were right there on that very line, and all we did was uncover them and put them in order. So his altar was always here.
It was waiting for you.
It was always here. I didn't make it.
Permanent. Yeah.
I simply took the dirt off the top of it.
Yeah.
And said, oh, there you are. And put it, what Eliyahu did, he recovered or restored what was already there. Selah.
Well, here's one that I just thought of. Just maybe it's the listener questions that got my juices flowing. Didn't Yahusha begin to die on the stone altar?
Yes, he did.
What did he lean on in the Garden of Gethsemane when he began to sweat great drops of blood? What was he leaning? Was it a crutch? Was it a hospital crutch, or was it a stone?
Stone.
That was a stone altar.
Yeah.
He was becoming sin, and he had to reconcile to the Father. So
his blood had to hit the stone
on a stone altar in the garden.
Folks, I don't know how to. It was the intensity that some people find intimidating that took me up that hill. It was the intensity that some people find intimidating that caused me to blow that horn. It was intensity that brought me to the Sea of Galilee, and I spent 9 months on the highest point in northern Israel. It was intensity that I was shown multiple blood moons as Remnant House was born. Intensity does all of those things. Without intensity, you don't get it all done. So yeah, you're intimidating because you're not sitting still just with a remote control.
And you're not your average Southern Baptist pastor. You make demands on the people. And when people hear this is a leader that has a two-way street, we make demands on him. I visit the sick, visit my loved ones, do the funerals for my family. We make demands on him. But wait a second. He's making demands on us. Oops.
That's right.
That's the wrong place because it's a two-way street. No, that's the right place. When Peter makes a demand on you, it's because he wants a relationship. He doesn't want a one-way ticket. It's not a one-way I can't. I can't impress that upon my people. You could ask any of my people. They got this
Hmm.
down in their potato knish. Okay, they got
Hmm.
this deep down in their potato knish. Okay,
Hmm.
that Shaliach will be there for us. Is there, if there's a funeral, there's a wedding,
Yep.
there's sick. I visit the sick. He's there for us. But this dude expects us. He expects us to bring food. He expects us to help with the cleaning.
This dude.
In other words, this is a two-way street, children.
Yeah.
And if you got a problem with that, you're not in the assembly, and you need to take
You're
a good
not.
look in the mirror and say, my attitude sucks because I don't want anybody telling me what to do. And in order for me to grow spiritually, I need spiritually leaders that are mature, that are not abusers, telling me what to do. Some
There's
of
so
you need
few that are
some
out
of
of
you
fear
need to
because there's
fix
so
your
few in the house.
face. Some of you need to fix your face
Yes.
while you allow Yahuwah to fix your heart.
Come on. Bring up Ephesians 4 so we can close there.
Okay.
I know we've gone a little extra time, folks, but I think this has been a really good chat, and I hope this has edified you. And in Ephesians 4, he tells us the purpose of the fivefold,
Look, I'm
and it's
getting there right now.
perpetual. It's perpetual. And some may say, well, the Hebrews came to the unity of the faith. Sweetheart, we are still trying to come to the unity of the faith.
What verse,
We're
Peter?
still, let's see.
I'll go down. I'll find it for you. Let's see. Let me get it up.
Every joint supplies.
Every joint supplies. Let's see. All right, there we go.
From whom the whole gulf joined and knit together by what every joint supplies. So how do we know you're part and knit together with the body of Mashiach? Well, you would be a joint that's supplying. So it's a two-way street. There would be blood flow. Okay, there would be blood flow. There would be flow to and from your digit, from your fingers. Even though they're very far from your heart, they're still connected. So that's the way a body works, right? How is it that people are weak, sickly, and some die? Well, because they don't discern Mashiach's body. So they're showing disrespect to the very body giving them life. So they put a tourniquet on and then wondering why their hands turning blue, right? So what does it say here? It says, but for every joint supplies according to the working of the member doing its share. Every member doing its share, causing growth for the guf, building itself up in ahava.
And who decides what share? Who gets what share?
The king does. He's the
kingdom-
king. He's not running for king. He doesn't need my vote. And that way I don't have to be the one responsible for saying it, which is great because then I'm not responsible for the structure. All I did was repeat what he said.
But the king, through his surrogates and through his apostles,
Yes.
gates.
Yes. I'm repeater. That's who I am. I repeat.
Every once in a while, okay? Every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
the master will speak directly from heaven in a prophetic voice or an audible voice. However, most of the time he's going to speak through clay
Right to
vessels.
his servants.
2 Corinthians 4:4. Brethren, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that
Right.
the excellency of the power may be of him. What makes his power excellent? It's the unworthiness of the clay vessel. And those are the clay vessels that will give you your assignment. If you don't know your assignment, you come to a leader. He'll give you your assignment and you will be under control, self-control. You'll be under the control that liberates. You're trying to project the control of the world onto Apostle Peter or to
Right.
another leader, and that's why you have
It will fail.
you have doubts, you have questions because you're projecting.
Right. Any questions, folks, before we let you go? We've been here a long time today.
Do I look like I'm in a hurry?
Hmm?
I got a t-shirt on. Do I
You look happy.
like I'm in a hurry? I mean,
You look happy, man.
I do.
You're-
Today I'm
You're a handsome dude. I heard you had some excitement during the Super Bowl game. I'm glad you made it through
That's why
that.
I'm happy. Let's close with this, unless there's another question. That's one of the reasons I'm happy. I want to give. Let me, since you brought it up, I want to give you a testimony. Make a long
Mhm.
story short. We're watching the Super Bowl not because we're carnal, but because we're family and we just wanted to hang out. So we were eating and talking and fellowshipping, and then because of a heavy salad dressing vinegar, because salad dressings are very, very dangerous. They go down the wrong pipe, whatever that is, and then vinegar is strong, very strong. So I started going. This is going on for 30 seconds. So Nehemiah comes over. He goes, Sholiach, you're okay? Most people were sitting in the back eating or sipping or whatever, and they didn't hear me. They didn't hear. He's sitting right next to me. He's leaning over and he starts banging on my back, and I believe it's very possible, very, very probable he saved my life, because I don't know how long you can do this. I can't breathe. I'm trying to inhale and I couldn't breathe. I'm guessing that only goes on for 2 minutes, right? Most 2-3 minutes, and I was up to about a minute. So yesterday, Yahuwah spared my life, and this is probably the 100th time that he's done that. So I want to give the King of all Kings the esteem and the honor for extending my life. And if he takes me into my 80s with sound mind and sound bodies, I'll be grateful to him. Not because I'm afraid to die, but because, like Paul says, I want to make more children. I want to keep sowing my seed and making more children.
Amen. Amen. And Julie asked a question. So you're also keeping Shabbat today. Why would you ask that?
That must be lunar Shabbat. We need to tackle that another time.
Oh, I see.
That must be a lunar Shabbat thing.
Okay, we'll tackle that
Julie,
at some point.
I was into that for 5 years, and I can show you the fallacy in 30 seconds. If you allow me, Peter, 30 seconds.
Happily.
The biblical lunation, the astronomical lunation is 28 days. Let me say that again. It takes 28 days for the moon to revolve around the earth. Now, with lunar Shabbat, you have 6 months that are 29 days, and you have 6 months that are 30 days. Therefore, both the 30-day month and the 29-day month are unbiblical, because if you're really going by the moon, every month has to have 28 days. Problem with that is the year is 364. Enoch is clear, Jubilees is clear. So how do you get 28 times 12 to equal 364? Not only that, on the months that are 29 days, okay, the Chodesh is an added day, so the 6-1-6-1 pattern of the Shabbat, 6-1-6-1. So on the months that have 29 days, you're going to have 8 or 9 days between Shabbats. Let me say that again.
Right.
On the lunar months that are 29 days, you're going to have either 8 or 9 days between weekly Shabbats. That is a clear violation of Scripture, because it breaks the 6-in-1 pattern. Now, we're not being harsh with anybody, because I was a lunar Shabbat keeper for 6 years. Right. So I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you it's plain wrong. Anything that breaks the 6-1 pattern is plain wrong. That's it.
I have to agree.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom,
we love
everyone.
you.
We love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, don't